Welcome to Beachside Tech Talk, episode number 87. My name is Ian Utilli. I'm here with my wife, Riza, my son, Malachi. Today's topic is how is leadership impacted by Web3 and AI? And I'm going to start with a video, something I shared with a bunch of leaders that were both in the AI and the Web3 fields in Istanbul, Turkey. But before I do that, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Istanbul, Turkey is an interesting place because it's one of the oldest cities in the entire world.
It's amazing.
It's had major historical significance when it was Constantinople.
It'd be fun to take
the places before that.
You and your two brothers there, and it'd be fun to go there together. Maybe we should go back to Istanbulish.
Well,
I love the team that run it.
We can be
if
there
you're watching Istanbulish team, I love
in a
you.
way by watching this video.
So I'm going to start with this video, and we'll be back again after this, and we'll dive into our topic. How is leadership impacted by Web3 and AI?
It used to be that innovation moved very, very slowly, right? If a king or a queen wanted to innovate and make a castle, right? They want to change everything about the development of their country. And they think, we have this big vision, right? We want a place to protect our people. We want a place to celebrate together, a safe place for us to gather. How long did it take to build a castle? Generations, hundreds of years. And you imagine a king or a queen saying, we're going to do this innovation. We're going to have something new for our people. And not for us, not for our kids, not for our grandkids, but for our great-great-great-grandkids that we'll never meet. But they will honor us and our legacy because we had vision for what could be. So the question is, what kind of vision do we have in advanced technology space? You know, for all those involved with Crypto Female, and I honor Crypto Female, I think it's amazing what SEMA and the community have done. How about for all those that are involved in the crypto, blockchain, distributed ledger space here in this region? What kind of vision do we have around innovation? You look at about 100 years ago, and the idea for innovation was to have a vehicle. But there was an entire industry for horses. There was everybody involved with breeding horses, with selling horses, carriages, and the horseshoeing, and all the different parts of the industry. It was one of the largest industries globally, was the industry of transporting ourselves using animals. And in about 20 years, we transitioned to using vehicles. Innovation. How about innovation in the last 15 years or so? I know that here, there's not a lot of people using Uber. But around the world, taxis, they just kind of disappeared for the most part, and Uber replaced them. Did anybody cry for the taxi companies? No. Why? Because people value saving time. They value having safety, knowing that the person that's driving them around, that person is accountable. How about what happened with Airbnb and hotels? Did anybody cry for the hotels, that the hotels don't have as many people inside their organization, their places? No. It was very simple. There was a better option. Go stay at somebody's home. Now imagine how fast it's going to be once we remove the middleman, that is Uber and Airbnb. What took a couple of years to transition from taxis to Uber, or to transition from hotels to Airbnb, imagine how quick it will be as soon as one of the protocols figure out how to remove the middleman so that people can start to rent cars to each other using blockchain and AI technologies, when they can start to open their home to one another using these automation technologies. Innovation is just going to get faster and faster and faster. Now, if innovation is only done by the degens for the degens, if it's only done by the anarchists for the anarchists, there will be a limitation. We have to see innovation done so that every type of government will adopt it. It can't just be the developed nations. It can't just be democracies. We need every form of government, even those governments that maybe are not quite as, celebrated as others. We need all forms of government, all types of businesses to lean into innovation. So at Hedera, we are one of many layer 1 blockchains. And we try not to have an attitude of we are the best. We just recognize that we're really great at certain things. And so today I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that we think that we've had some great success with around how we do governance and the fact that we are focused on sustainability and what it is that we've done around innovation. I don't always share slides. What I usually do when I speak is I'm on a one wheel. It's like the size of a skateboard. It's like a motorcycle skateboard, and I roll back and forth. And I talk about this, and I talk about that, and I roll. But I don't have, the airplane wouldn't let me take the one wheel today, or when I came. So I'm here just walking around like a normal person. I'm not floating like I'm in the future. And what I will discuss with you today is some big concepts. Now, I don't often use slides, but here I'm going to, just to be sure that I can reinforce a few simple concepts around governance, sustainability, and innovation. I will take some time to let you ask questions if you have any. So I would encourage you to be courageous and ask some questions. Before I jump in, I'm going to say something about honor and respect. And that there can be honorable approaches that are both noble and savage. Savage is not bad, and nobility is not good. Nobility and savagery, or humility and confidence, are different ways that we express ourselves, and both of these ways can be done in an honorable and a respectful way. Something that I've come to understand about the Istanbul culture is that honor is of the highest priority, that people want to be honored and that people show honor to one another. And I think that that's a wonderful thing, and I'm happy to be here and to enjoy that part of your culture, and I have enjoyed that. I felt very honored by all of you that have welcomed me to your country, and I hope to come back many, many times. So I want to talk about this concept of nobility and savagery, or you could say humility and confidence. I don't really know what the right word is here, but I like noble, savage. That's kind of my thing. And I want to talk about how nobility and savagery is really important as you think about the concepts I'm going to discuss when it comes to innovation for the enterprise by the enterprise. First of all, we live in a world that is divided, or that's what the media would tell us, right? That we're divided? That we're either Democrats or Republicans in America, or that we're part of the Labour Party or the Conservative Party in the UK, that either we are Muslims or we are Christians, that we are this ethnicity or that ethnicity, that we're male or female, that we're young or old. Now, are we really as divided as the global leaders or the media might want us to believe? Now, why would they want us to believe we're divided? Because divided people are easy to control. You see, if they're evil, and if you're part of the good guys, then whoever's in charge of the good guys can easily control you. They can manipulate you. They can get you to march to their drumbeat and say what they want you to say and do what they want you to do because you're part of the good guys and those are the bad guys. Well, this happens in innovation. This happens in enterprises. This happens in governments, is that we often will have people try to divide us. And so it's like, I'm part of Avalanche, and that's the good guys. I'm part of the good guys. And I use AVAX. And everybody else, those are the bad guys. And I would propose to you that it's not about good and bad. It's about there's honorable, respectful things in all of these environments. And sometimes things don't always resonate with us because maybe some groups are more noble, more humble, more meek, where other groups might be more savage, more confident, more aggressive. But you see, one is not better than the other. Both can be quite honorable. Both can be loving. Both can be service-oriented. You know, with everything that went on with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried, everything that went on with Luna, I got really, really concerned. So I started talking about nobility and savagery, and what I would say is that we need more noble leaders. We need more neat leaders that are noble, that act like kings and queens that are here to lead by service, that are here to lead by example, that are here to set the tone of humility and respect and kindness. But we need more savage communities. We need communities to be savage and to demand nobility from leadership. We need communities to be savage and to be unstoppable, to be confident, to believe in themselves, not to cast stones at others, but to drive forth toward their specific goals and objectives. And so I want you to keep that in mind. As I talk about some of the things that we find to be really exciting at Hedera, please understand that in no way do I express a distaste for the other layer 1 blockchains or layer 2 blockchains. In no way do I see us as superior to others in all ways. We just think we're pretty good at a couple things.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the party. Nigel, Dan, happy Tuesday to you both.
So good to see you guys.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So what did you just told me Musk said what we've been talking about for the last couple of weeks.
One of the things that you've mentioned
We've all talked about it for the last couple of weeks.
The universal maximum income idea, that people don't need to be able to provide for these previous resources that we've needed, because it's going to be simply provided for us by whatever is here. And Musk just said something that was straight out of that idea. He said, in response to someone who was saying, hey, we've lost like 800,000 jobs in 2025. In September, 10,000 of those were from AI alone. And then the guy said, but I think we're going into a gold rush.
This is Peter Diamandis. I saw that earlier today.
Is that what he said? That was his name?
That was Peter.
And then Musk said AI and robotics is going to create a universal high income.
Yeah. So we've been talking about the last few weeks. Pretty interesting to see him respond that way. I think he's right.
Oh, really? That's weird.
I think he's right. So today's topic, everyone, is how is leadership impacted by Web3 and AI? This is really kind of focused on elected leadership, public servants, government, political leadership. And the reason why I differentiate that, we talk about leadership across every industry. All the time we're talking about leadership in education, leadership in innovation, leadership in media, leadership in faith. Every area of society has leadership. This is more specific on like elected leadership and how are Web3 and AI, either or both, impacting it, and how vice versa, right? Both ways. So good to see you both. How's East Coast, Nigel? Still great weather?
Good. Yeah. I'd actually get out to walk today, but weather's pretty a little more moisture in the air today. I opened the door a little bit, but I didn't go out for the daily walk. I slept in a little bit, which wasn't too bad, you know. So
I like that.
But,
it was
good.
Dangerous fog over here this morning, like the kind you don't want to drive in. Like brutal collisions in the ocean, surfers, just destruction.
What?
that was interesting, you know, that aspect of California weather visiting, you know, like the changes from the morning to the afternoon. They're interesting. They're interesting swings, but they're very sustainably gradual, as opposed to Florida. Like Florida, like the weather here is just erratic. You know, like, you know, 1 minute, I mean, it's pouring rain, you can't even drive in it. Go under a tunnel and wait. And then the next minute, let's go to the beach. It's great, you know, like, and the same thing with the heat. It's like, I felt like the closest I got to that was the realization of driving from Santa Cruz to San Jose on the way to the airport. Like getting out of that car, man. Danny and I were driving. It's like, what the heck happened to the weather?
How different the weather is. It's
like,
pretty.
Wait, I'm in Florida. I'm home. Wow,
yeah.
That was fast.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yep, it is. Yeah, I agree with you. Weather is a strange deal. There's certain places in the world like Kauai and Redding, of all places, in Shasta County, that have completely independent, from what I've been told, weather systems which is why their weather is so different than anywhere else, like near it. Like Kauai's like basically a rainforest, and Redding, I think, is the third sunniest place in the world and like the second hottest place in the world. Yet it's just like this normal place that people have learned how to function. It's like a normal 100,000 person city, and across a multi 100,000 person county with Shasta County. So yeah, weather's a trip. It feels like weather's changed a lot. It feels like Florida has been punished by some of the weather changes. I imagine that people that are in Florida that are really climate focused, environmentally focused, are more passionate there than other places. And I also imagine like politicians, it wouldn't surprise me if politicians that are pro climate, like wanting to do the Green New Deal or whatnot, like they're probably pretty loud and aggressive in a place like that, because there's so many changes from what I've seen the last couple of decades. And I imagine that conservatives, they're kind of not wanting to see political spending going towards something like a Green New Deal. I imagine they're maybe a little bit more quiet there than other areas, because it's just that place gets punished. It's been actually sad to just watch what's happened during the last decade. Friends that live there, and what do you think, Nigel? You deal with a lot of this. What do you think about like the political government landscape's responsibility when it comes to managing weather, FEMA, etc., weather disasters? And what do you think about making changes? You're in the midst of this. I mean, you were really close on that last one. I'd love to hear your thoughts on where you think the government, elected officials' role is in that type of arena, because of you being there in Florida. And maybe do you think there's something or some things that could help with Web3 and or AI kind of assisting in that process? It's devastating for a lot of folks.
Well, I'll start with this. I did see what appeared to be a faster response than, not that I was here during the last big one, but from what people tell me, on how they marshaled resources and people went around the houses making sure that, they were aware of FEMA aid that was available to people who had lost. There were people going door to door. Like when I was walking, you saw people in the street. They're like, "Oh, you live around here," and they were out. They had the street teams out. So I thought that was good. So someone marshaled those resources. So that's the good part. In the face of technology, I feel like government is woefully lacking, and it's unacceptable. It's, for me, it's offensive. I don't know a better way to put it, and it's not because I'm just being critical for critical sake. I'm going to be really specific here. You're highly educated. You worked in the in the private sector, so you know what that that culture is like.
Right.
But you show up with less than. You speak on subjects that you're not well versed in, not because you can't, because you don't. That's just not helpful. You get less than metrics on what is available. And this is really across the board. It's not even exclusive to politicians. And I'll give a super real example from this morning. I have a friend who has a medical condition, and she's managing something right now. And just from general AI, nothing special, no fancy paid accounts or whatever, I went in and I, asked the questions and didn't have to give any like personal information. Just what am I experiencing here? What's going on? And, between the data that came back, the options for making a checklist, and the podcast episode that was created, 40 minutes of pure value, just that I think we would love for a doctor to be able to explain. This is what you're experiencing. And it's a complex thing, because it's like a double bind managing two different conditions and understanding how that ties together. And this is what I mean by the less than. And even some of the commentary was like, don't depend on your doctor to do the things that you should be doing. And that's true. I think at the end of the day, your health is your health. Anything that someone has a job to do that they're being paid to do, that you lean heavily on, that's not their primary responsibility, and AI is no different. You start leaning on something that's your responsibility, we have problems. And it's the same thing with the government. Oh, it's the other side. It's this. No, it's what are you doing? You know, and I don't think there's an excuse for it that's legitimate anymore. You can't tell me you can't get the information. I'm saying you don't. You know, there's you know, you think about, I was about to pose this as a question, and I still might. Like, what are the three things that, you know, that leaders need? To me, they're transparency, accountability. Like, don't be a hypocrite.
Right.
Like, you know, own your stuff. You know, like if you're gonna go after somebody way hard, then you got to take it on the chin. And I know plenty people who are close to me. They'll come with the same energy towards you, but if you point out to them, well, you're doing that, they will be the first ones to say you're right.
Right.
And that
Because
to me is admirable.
critical people, healthy-ish critical people, to be specific, are usually welcoming of critique. People that don't have struggle with codependency, they're not trying to please everybody. Like, they'd rather have integrity and lose a contract, a friend, a whatever, an opportunity. They are usually fairly welcome of other people that are not codependent as well. And it can be a little bit shocking for people that do live with, around, or themselves are quite codependent, because it can be shocking, like, whoa, wow. And, you know, I personally have appreciated people that, you know, don't wear a mask and are, you know, pretty bold. I appreciate. I don't think it's very often. It feels like most people have a tendency to try to protect whatever they have going on, their relationship, their opportunity, their job, their reputation, and they don't really want to ruffle feathers, even just one person's feathers, because you never know how that ripples through.
Leaders
things.
are usually the people who are a sort of
followed.
They're yes, as well.
Leaders are the people that are followed
They're
by
a
other
sort
people.
of projection of the general consensus of the way people feel. And of course, you have loosey-goosiness, and maybe it's half and half, but as a general idea. And so this whole conversation is making me think about how the market demands things. So if you go back to the Great Depression, you have Herbert Hoover. He's like this president who takes office.
Malachi was just sharing a bunch of rad stuff with me that he learned in his U.S. history class.
Yes, yeah. But basically, after World War I, America mobilized so aggressively, and that had some negative consequences by coming down from that high. But then soon after, this president, Coolidge, he was basically making it an environment where the U.S. doesn't take much debt, doesn't take much responsibility, and they kind of let the economy just do its thing. And that worked out quite well. The government debt came down like almost half, which was really impressive as well. I mean, it's crazy to see that it was like 18 billion that it reached. And when you look at what it is now, it's like, 100 times more than that. It's wild to see the way things can happen like that. But essentially, after
way more
him,
than 100 times,
when the Great Depression hit,
more.
because
it's 2,000 times more.
It's wild. When people started taking so much credit and just different things happening in the economy, there was kind of this bubble that formed in the stock market. And when it popped, that was what caused the Great Depression. But the president after Coolidge, his name was Herbert Hoover, and he wanted to stay with like the government doesn't help and doesn't get super involved. And that caused a lot of people to dislike him. Now, where I'm getting with this is that the people didn't like what was happening in that moment, whether it's his fault or not. They didn't like what was happening. And so they transitioned completely and turned to a completely different idea that FDR proposed in his New Deal, where he was basically getting the government really involved. They went from having like $1.8 billion in tax revenue to like 5.3. That's like almost triple, if not it is. And it's wild to see the way that when people themselves decide, I don't like the way this is. We're struggling. Even if this is going to cause the government to become something that in the future is really, really struggling in debt and all these different things, we want this now. And looking at the way that that mental shift was sparked by something, is there a way that AI or Web3, just technologies, that we obviously want the government to be using, that we want to be frequently adopted? Is there a way we can get these to be sparked in that way? That's what I'm trying to get to with this. Is there a spark that we can find or create? Because right now we do have a lot of complaints that are very valid of
That's right.
why
My
aren't the
complaints are valid.
governments using this? Why aren't they using this? It's so beneficial. And so that's what I'm trying to tee you guys up to.
I think it's just using it. You know, again, it always, and you know, I keep beating this horse, but you see people, you have all the access to the top technology leaders. They're all at the White House, the inauguration. All of them are, you know, decked out, private plane, the whole nine. You know, they're showing up. You know, it's the big event. But you get on stage and you're talking about AI, and you sound ridiculous. Like this, it would be, here's the equivalent. I know your dad for umpty dumpty years.
I haven't heard that before.
And I get up on stage, big Web3 AI conference, you know. Yeah, gratitude champion. Don't know anything about Attention Live, but I'm out here talking extra spicy about who's not doing what to whom. It's ridiculous. How? The founder of the company is a friend. How do I not know? Like, what is that? And then to stand on it, to double down, what my mom calls powerful stupid. Like, come on. Like, what excuse could I possibly have? It's like, look, you've gone to the Philippines, you've gone, you know, to South Korea, you've gone to New York. You don't know. What do you mean you don't know about the product? It's ridiculous. So you see things like this, and you have to ask yourself, it's not a matter of you can't, it's just you don't. Right. And no one's there to say you're making up excuses. You know, and the only time
Andrew actually does, he's there for me. Landry's there for me to say that. No, Ian, you're making up excuses.
Well, I think you have a few people who will, you know, who will tell you that. Some of them use you as a piñata, but you know, it happens. You know, listen, heavy as the crown. You know that's kind of how I see how. But that's why you're there. But you know what?
Said to me, he goes, "I hate to poke you in the eye." And I'm like, "I'm wearing glasses. It's okay, bro."
See, but here's what I've never heard you say. I'm just not gonna address it. No, or it's beneath me, or like, and that's the part we're flawed beings. We're humans, okay? So, you know, in Christ we're everything. But the point is, we're not going to agree with everything that someone says, or you know, holding us accountable. But there's a point where, again, it's just willful ignorance. Right. You know, you're looking it in the face, and then it starts to become hypocrisy, and then people start to react, and that becomes a problem. You know, like it's one thing to say we have problems and we're pointing out problems, and yeah, but like, what are we doing about it? And you can, like, think about it. The rest of the world, compared to these people, are not, they're dealing with real life. And when I say real life, I mean kids in school, childcare, college costs. None of these people in government typically have that issue. Pensions funded, houses paid, stock portfolio, good. They're good. They're not, like, those problems are not, they have different problems. I'm not saying that I have no, but those everyday, you know, average lay person, you know, not really. Right. You know, so focus your attention on the things that's there. And I just feel like that accountability needs to be there. And I'm not saying none of them do it. Some of them certainly have that, have that capacity and have operated in that manner. But when you start to see the hypocrisy, own it with the same energy, and I feel like we're gonna be able to go and then just ask the questions like, well, why can't you have that? You want to hem up these guys at Facebook and Meta, with China, and why you're doing this, and you gotta, yeah, but you're not asking about the other side, which is how can you solve other problems? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's like everything is agenda driven. Like, to me, the easiest way to start to really foster accountability is to demand what I'm just going to call it this, a competing metric measure. That's it. So all this good, we're going to create all these jobs. Everybody's good. Universal basic, maximum basic. Everybody's a maxi. Everybody's making money. What are you getting out of it? You neglected the part where you're going to make $50 million a year in fees no matter what happens. You conveniently left that part out, or that you're making $630 million a year on prisons. Right. Come on, talk about what is. Yeah. So I saw someone post about this, and they were talking about ICE detention and whatever, and not to be in the political piece, but here's the real question. There was a company that's making $630 million on these contracts that have to do with prisons. And it is what it is. It's not illegal. But here's my question. With 630 million reasons to keep this going, where's the incentive for improvement?
Yeah.
Love Ted, incarceration museum, and I just gave 630 million reasons
why
counter to that.
Right.
And it's hard, like, unless there is an active practice of we're going to reduce that amount, how does that work? And I'm not even saying I have the answer or it's just poking fun. It's stating a fact.
I mean, as far as the numbers go, what is a productive life in society worth? I mean, what percentage of people are incarcerated that don't absolutely need to be? They don't need to be because there's other things outside of incarceration that would either serve them comparably or better. They don't need to be incarcerated because incarceration is not the answer for them, because they need something much more significant in terms of mental health or something of that nature. For societies that believe in the death penalty, obviously, if somebody's so bad, do we want to keep somebody? This is assuming that as society has by consensus agreed that the death penalty is something that they want to enact. But if they have, do we want to keep people incarcerated for their whole life? And is that best for them? Is that best for society? I mean, these are very, very challenging questions. But it does seem to me as though the prison system in America is a massive moneymaker, that those that could help make things better look the other way because there's so much money involved, as you said. And it does feel like an alternate form of slavery. Like we have a different lever to pull to enact slavery across, those that we deem as criminals. So it is challenging. Honey, we're talking about leadership, and from kind of a, political perspective, it's very different in the Philippines. The way they deal with whether politics, the way they deal with incarceration. What are your thoughts on this topic? How do you imagine that, because there's more blockchain wallets in the Philippines than anywhere else. It's the highest usage of the internet of anywhere else. So, I mean, the automation, AI, Web3 must be making an impact on society there. What do you think about this?
Yeah, of course. When it comes to how the Web3 and AI has impacted leadership in the Philippines, there are, in different societies or in different areas like education, politics. I want to generalize this. All right. also, based on my experience as a leader, I would say that if you're an employer, you're already considered as a leader,
Right.
right? So I have no how to call that. I cannot share about politics, that. But when it comes to business leadership, I can somewhat share about that. When back in the Philippines, when I was managing my three businesses there, leadership um, has changed so much when it comes to innovation and how Web3 and AI impacted. The old leadership, it's more about control. The new leadership, it's more about collaboration. The old leadership, it's more about titles. The new leadership, it's more about trust. The old leadership, it's more about um, how to call that? Telling. It's all about managing people. But the new leadership, it's more about giving people freedom to, to your people, freedom to do whatever they want to do. So, in the world of Web3 and AI, where AI amplifies intelligence, that's why it's AI, and Web3 decentralizes power. The best for based on how I um, see it, the best leaders will be and are those who can lead not above others, but those people or leaders who can um, lead alongside their people.
Hmm.
So, but when it comes to politics, I cannot share that.
When it comes to politics, most people, it seems to me, don't vote in the Philippines, and most people don't think that their vote matters. So when it comes to publicly, you know, public officials, people that serve in the government because people votes, what's the thought on that? And if people talk about using phones to cast votes, and is there a way to make it more honest and transparent and trustworthy?
Well, there are many strategies that our government has done to make people or to push people to vote. Like what I shared in the House of Web3 before, that people cannot get the benefits from the government if they can see in the list in their system that you
Oh, no public
have not.
assistance if you don't vote.
No.
Oh, interesting.
So since I admit that I have not voted ever since, during the COVID, when they were,
Giving public assistance.
yes, public assistance, I was one of those who did not receive. Where
Well,
I actually, I admit also I did not pass the, how do you call that? They have ratings like if you're earning above, average,
Right.
or yeah, like that. So they how do you call that? Like they investigate your background. So even though during the time I was a single mom, but they found out that, oh, you have three businesses, you have job, they said that you don't need to receive this public assistance from the government. And also, we can see that you don't or you never voted ever since. So that's also one thing. But to Julia, since during that time she was already 18 years old, and even though she's my daughter, and they could see that she voted twice already, so she was able to receive the public
Oh, interesting.
assistance. Yeah, she was able to receive public assistance. That's also one thing that she got scholarship from her university, which was 50%, of the tuition fee.
Mm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
that's one of the more strict, just, hey, you're going to vote kind of ways to get people to vote. And it's interesting to see that, yeah, in some cases, people still don't vote.
No.
Teresa didn't vote. And that ended up having the punishments that you.
Well, my reason
weren't
why I
expecting.
didn't vote, number one, is that this is true, and I am not just giving excuse, all right? It wasn't easy to register like there was no online registration. They want in person. Like you really have to go to that place, and they only give like 1 week or sometimes 5 days, 3 days. And if you go there in that place, they also like give you the exact place. You cannot go to everywhere. For example, like my last name during the time was letter G, so the letter G is not close to my place. I have to go like I don't know how many miles from my house, but it's far and there is a traffic, and I was working and I have business. I don't even have enough time to sleep. So how can I, get
Go take
there,
time to do that.
take time to do that? It'll also take a lot of time.
Do they do mail voting?
Voting is yes, but registering is not same.
In
I
person.
believe until now they don't have the online registration. You really have to register as a voter in person, because they need to get your photo, they need to get your thumb mark and iris scan and everything. So you cannot do that online. So that's also one of the reasons. That's why I missed multiple times the registration, because they do that only like once a year or once in 2 years. I don't know, something like that. So they will just announce it on TV or on the internet. They will announce like there will be voting registration on this month from this day to that day. And if you go there, it's crazy because there are thousands of people, on queue. So that's not my thing. I don't want to do that.
Well, let's jump in and take a break. I did have, we'll take a break for, almost 10 minutes. I did have 3 songs created by Gemini, ChatGPT, and Grok around this topic.
I love that.
I did not look at the lyrics. I did not guide anything. I didn't make the titles. So the titles of these songs, Grok, the title it chose was Decentralize the Throne. ChatGPT's title is Leaders Without Thrones. And Gemini's title is The Digital Throne. And I find that to be interesting. In my prompt, I didn't see a single thing about throne or thrones. So
what do you think throne means here?
Well, it's the place,
Leadership.
it's the platform for the leader to, be in. That's the place of leadership. So be interesting to hear what these songs are. I didn't read the lyrics. I don't know what they sound like, but I chose like a pop rock thing instead of hip hop. Not all pop rock, synth rock. I don't know. It'll be rocky, poppy. Go ahead.
During the time you're playing the song, can you just ask it? Why did you choose throne?
Why did you use the word throne?
Because
I'll ask it. And then when we come back, I'll share.
He said he didn't say throne. I'll be curious.
I never even said
why
throne.
guess?
Yeah, pretty trips.
See?
Okay, we'll be back again in a few minutes, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Old suits in the chambers, fumble with the chain, paper trails and power plays, stuck in the old game. Blockchain buzzing lively, AI lights the spark, decentralized rebellion, igniting in the dark. From capital to shore, to the global stage we roam. Leadership's rewired, yo, it's storming the throne. Decentralize the throne, let the truth run free. A sharpening the edge for a world we're meant to see. Transparent tides are rising, governance reborn. Web3 and AI collide. A new dawn is sworn. Young calls for wisdom, UAs leaping ahead. Smart contracts seal the trust, where corruption once bled. From Tampa sparks to Bay Area's vibe, leaders wield the code where the honest drive. Your fast keeps you fierce, faith as we dream. Leadership reborn in the blockchain's gleam. Decentralize the throne, let the truth run wild. It's lighting up the path for the dreamers. Shout, transparent tides are rolling, centuries to soar. Web3 and AI unite, opening freedom's door. With faith and family strong, we'll never be alone. Kingdom abundance reigns. We've decentralized the throne. We used to wait for heroes on the hill, suits and slogans spinning their wheel. Now memes make ministers, clips make kings. I advisors whisper everything. We dance through headlines, eyes on the tone. If truth's a ledger, we'll carve our own. The crowd's awake, the feed's alive. 1,000 voices learn to drive. Power to the people, proof on the chain. No more shadows hiding the game. Open hands, open code. We don't follow, we upload. Live by servants, speaking light. Tomorrow's leaders. Crowdsource the night. They built the towers, we built the nodes. We learned to question the sacred codes. From closed doors to open ledgers, the truth moves fast when the AI measures. Policy written in midnight tweets, now verified by data beats. No more puppets on hidden strings. We are the council, we are the kings. Power to the people, proof on the chain. From capitals to citizen brains. Every wallet, every node carries a dream that's self-bestowed. Govern with grace, govern with sight. A by day, Web3 by night. The system caught fire, but the truth did too. Every receipt became something new. Light through the ledger, mirrors of trust. The old thrones crumble into digital dust. Raise your keys, let the signal be known. Leaders rise when they stand alone. No more power to the people, proof on the chain. Back to fun, back to rain. Cover with laughter, stir with soul. The ledger sings, we are whole. From beach to boardroom, note to phone. We're leaders now. Without the throne. Without the throne. Got a brand new pole, it's a shiny new tool. Makes the old way of running things look like old school. Fixing the potholes with a predictive eye. We'll vote for the new park on an app passing by. It's so clean, it's efficient and bright. Just a simple upgrade, turning darkness to light. The mayor loves the dashboard, the data is neat. Just a simple solution right here on our street. Oh, we're building it up, stone by digital stone. A new kind of power, the digital throne. But who writes the It's our turn to build it. The digital throne. We'll take it apart, pass the pieces around. Here on the beach side, a new future is found. Episode 87, the question is key. It's our turn to build for you and for me. So what will we build? What will we build? What will we
Well, that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that.
I love it.
It's cool that
Uh,
it can do different styles.
I didn't know what to
It's
expect because I
special.
never saw the lyrics. I never changed anything.
Mhm.
So what do you think, Nigel?
I like the ones yesterday better.
Yeah.
I'll take that. And I don't know. These didn't
Well,
feel
I like
as
hip hop vibe better than the pop vibe anyway. So that's probably part of it.
I mean, I guess that could be some of it. I don't feel like this one. I don't think that it used as much of the conversation.
Mhm.
It felt like it just took a very surface level kind of
I think it definitely is
approach
going
to
to
it.
really affect the output you get by the prompt that you give. I mean, I just I see the only end product, but I don't really see the way that you exactly told it to do something.
Well, I showed you guys yesterday, and maybe I'll share it again in a couple weeks. As I get better with the prompting.
Well, I'm just curious, in the way you're prompting, what are you really asking for?
I ask it to. Well, in this case, I gave it the least amount of content ever. I just said for Beachside Tech Talk 87, our topic is leadership, with a focus on elected leadership. Political government. So that's all I said. Those turkeys are moving back there. Is there seeds out there or something? Those turkeys are moving like they got something they're trying to run after. So yeah, I didn't really say anything this time. Last time I did a bunch of prompts to get them to get the AIs to do research first before asking it to make the songs yesterday.
What's the way that you ask for that research?
I asked the question that we're answering as a group today. Yesterday was not leadership. It was
It
different.
answers the question, and then okay, I see.
So I asked yesterday, how is innovation impacted by Web3 and AI?
Mhm.
It came back. I said, give me a bunch of articles that prove this, provide secondary articles that affirm it, and give me a summary of it with a link to it. And then after that, I said, okay, pick your top 3. And then after that, then I gave it the prompt. That way I allowed it to do research, find articles, find backing articles, pick its own top 3. That way it would kind of create the song out of that. For today, I wanted to see what would happen if I just simply said, it's Beachside Tech Talk 87. Here's the topic. Make a song. So anyway, at the end of the show today, in about 25 minutes, I will play the other 3 versions of the song. It's kind of an interesting thing. I'm having fun trying to visualize how do you do this either consistently at a high level, or how do you do this potentially better? Does it make sense to actually read the lyrics and change the lyrics first? Does it make sense to take the lyrics of all 3 and then maybe just pull my favorite lyrics out of all of them and say, okay, here's the song that I think is going to sound best? And just so, I don't know.
Nigel and Sweetwine, have you guys had any kind of really cool things with AI recently? I mean, Nigel, you were talking earlier about that podcasting thing. I want to hear more about the way you did that. Because in a way, we're kind of the leaders for the AI. If you kind of go with the idea you had for the way we get to that kind of universal maximum income, it kind of is independent in some ways, but right now we are leading it.
Right.
I think it's valuable to know to do that.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take more out of your dad's playbook yesterday, where he said, "I'm not a composer." I don't think we should make this more than what it is. I mean, literally, you can just go to Notebook LM and copy and paste, information in and let it just give you and create a podcast for you to listen to. I think that at least one of the challenges is this. The internet seems to be so focused on, if you're not doing something for money, it's not worth doing. And I think that's wrong, particularly with AI. Well, I shouldn't say wrong. I think that is it doesn't utilize AI to its potential. I don't think that's it. I think for the everyday person, probably the greatest value they're going to get from AI is using it to positively impact their own life, them specifically. And what we get as we see ads and things come out is like, look at this, you could learn this in 30 days. Go ahead and build a website. You could do less than nothing and it'll be perfect. And I don't know I don't think that's a great way to adoption. In fact, it might be detrimental to it. And I also don't believe that you're going to get the best out of it, you're from there. If you take something and you use it for your own diet or your own mental health, well-being, for forging a better, more leveled up conversation with your doctor, that's where I think the value truly comes in. And glorifying it, beyond that. Like, perfect example, these songs. And I was talking to your dad after the show about this. I think one good use of Sonos I don't know how great this is going to be for the music industry. If I had to guess, I would probably say not great at all. I think it's going to saturate a lot of markets. You can hear it in some of the things that are there. I would be more interested, just being who I am, in finding out, how'd you create this song, and who were the inspirations for this song the way you created it?
Yeah.
Because if you demystify what is actually happening, then we stop thinking about it as magic and we stop giving it grace that it doesn't deserve. I can't put it another way. Like,
Yeah.
if someone's doing something that you just don't understand, or know something that you just don't know. And I was in that same documentary I recommended you take a look at, The Titans of Wall Street. It talked about insider trading. Knowing something that someone else doesn't know is not a skill. It's just, it. And if we glorify it as a skill, like we tend to do in marketing, look at me, let me put you up on game, all the vernacular, all the, fancy words. But if I could just tell someone the same thing and they can be at your level almost immediately, what skill do you really have?
Right.
Is that a skill at all? And that's uncomfortable for people to hear, but it depends on how you, like, I forgot who said this, specifically, but I've heard it in a couple of different ways. When the rules are published and the playing field is level, then we really see what skill looks like. Then we see what work ethic looks like.
Yeah.
Because, okay, so you think about this. You're in the schoolyard and you're picking teams, right? You see, you want the big kids, like the tall kids. If you're playing basketball, you look at that. That's not a skill to pick those kids, Right. But you see someone like Nate Robinson who's 5'7" and he can dunk. Then you start to see, something else. Because I tell you, I've seen some, growing up in New York, concrete jungle on the playground. I don't care how much training you had, how much prep schools you went to. You see Allen Iverson, you see, your Stephon Marbury, they'll clean your clock. I don't care who you had as coach. Leg breakers.
Yeah. It just
because
makes me
they
think
put the work in.
How, when I think about government and I'm like, there's these problems. I think I like democracy as a decent way of us choosing leaders. But we have this whole government system that there's things people don't like. There's people in place we don't like. And it brings that idea of, well, what if we just reset everything and then you just had nobody in office, but you still had the infrastructure and you still had the positions open, and then you just re-chose everything. Like, what kind of reality would that even make? Of course, there's all the things that make that not feasible, because that's basically a revolution, and well, that doesn't usually end well.
Revolution.
It's the idea that, can we reset? And it makes me think that, I don't know, could AI have some kind of role in that sort of reset, or sort of ability to find who actually has the skill, who actually is really good at basketball? They can dunk even though they're 5'7", instead of just choosing the guy who's 6 foot. Because once we can choose the people who have the skill, who are doing things for a good purpose, then everything else just flourishes after that.
Well, I think we give AI so much grace. I mean, you think about one of, like, in the recent, months since the election, it's not AI that created government efficiency. It was Doge.
Mm-hmm.
And there wasn't an algorithm. The algorithm was Elon. Why are you doing that? It loses money. What do you mean? I've been doing it for years. Yeah, that's the problem. And that offended a lot of people, because they're like, oh, you think you're going to walk in here? You don't know anything about government. I don't need to. I ran the numbers. It's math. This plus this is negative. Like, it loses money.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you do that? No AI. No special, supercomputer, or none of that. No special chip, no DeepSeek or ChatGPT, nothing. Just one human who, he's out there. I'm sleeping on the floor of the factory with everybody. I'm doing the work. And I think that AI may help us to embrace some of that in our, in who we are as humans, but we see it every day. But people aren't getting compensated for these particular things. Like, just to touch back quickly on something I wanted to say about the whole prison thing. Like, you can classify people in prison as not valuable, but you're making money off them. So how does that work? And no one's telling you anything. If you can pay someone 2 cents an hour and then charge it out at $10 an hour, and then they come out and they don't have a job because you're stigmatizing them, how does that even make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Forget about fairness. It's an incongruent message. And who's profiteering on that? So, like, I think it's simple questions. It's not even like pointing or making blame or trying to get at anybody. It's just asking the question. That's a lot of what Doge did, no matter how mad people were. At the end of the day, if something is not true, best example, my favorite, I mean, people aren't going to like, some people might not like this, but I found it funny. When Trump said, I'm not reading that brief.
And 2 paragraphs and a picture, or I'm not looking at it.
I'm not looking at it. And you saw people losing their minds. Oh, the whole planet, the whole country's going to go down. What happened? Nothing.
Everybody started making their 85-page briefs, 2 paragraphs and an image. Everybody started making their 2-sentence emails, 2 paragraphs and an image. It's super simple, dude.
If I had to guess, what happened was there was a bunch of people spending a lot of time doing that now realize that if he's not reading this and I've been spending, 18 hours, I'm out of a job. The end. It's not that hard to figure out. Wow. This does not really have any value beyond a certain thing. Yes, it's good to have, but let's not make it more than it is. I know it makes you feel good that, well, I worked 18 hours. I provide the brief. Yeah, but he's not reading it.
Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't even want to. He has no interest.
So,
and the reality is most people don't. I've had lots of friends, especially mentors that are older. I've heard them say to people, I'm never going to read that. You send me a message that's as long as a subject line, and I'll look at it.
There's so many courses out there. People try and
to
sell
me,
you,
that is a very interesting thing for someone to say. You want to send me a message? Make sure it fits in the subject line. Because if you got more to write to me than a subject line, then, send me a voice note for 30 seconds. Like, I'm not going to read your multi-paragraph email or your 5 text messages, like you're asking too much of me. And I get it, but I've written lots of super long things. It's crazy.
Well, they were probably with purpose. I mean, just to, like, when I was in corporate, I would get people who would say that, because I've been accused of, oh, you're using too many words, or you're doing too much.
Landry definitely felt like you were a over communicator when you first started emailing. Landry would call me like, dude, did you look at Nigel's email? I'm like, yeah, dude, it's very thorough. He's like, yeah, it's very thorough. It's very long. There's a lot to it. There's a lot going on there.
Let me give you the inside baseball on that.
Landry, you got somebody. This is 4 years.
Well, here's why it happens. Like, I don't like rework. I think it's a waste of energy and resources. So I don't need you to read it. I just need to make sure that I took the time to say it. Now, to your point, when someone says to me, I'm not going to read that, when you get to know me, if I say something, it's probably worth listening to.
Right.
And I would tell you a couple of times, you probably are going to want to read that. Or don't. But that comes with its own set of consequences. And it only has to happen once or twice for you to figure out that maybe I'm going to make an exception, because when someone takes the time to write something, and sometimes it's just to have it so that they can, read it back because the goal, if we miss the point, if someone just wants to talk, that's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if the goal is truly to get someone to understand, does it really matter how you arrive at that goal? Which is part of the problem. Some people feel like it has to be one way, which I think is just mind-blowing, that I just don't understand. The goal is to learn, not to show how smart you are. It's not so, I think it depends on the person. If you develop a culture or a reputation for being meticulous and being thorough, it may take some time, and people may, get at you and say certain things or whatever the case may be. But over time, you will find that people will just listen more.
Right.
Because they don't want to be on the other side of what might be there. So.
Yep. Dan, you and I have talked about this idea of, making government officials use phones for voting, exposing those that are elected leaders in politics, whether local, regional, state, or federal, exposing who they are, what they're doing, how they're voting, getting information to the people. We've talked a bit about this topic. I'd love for you to jump in and share some of your thoughts as we're getting closer to the end of the show today. Part of our conversations has been an inspiration for things that I was, mentioning this time and other times when we've talked about things around government and politics.
Yeah, I think if people are interested, they should look into it.
What have you found to be effective in trying to look into things going on with politics and government?
Well, you have politics and government right around you. So maybe anyone listening or not, give me a name of anyone in your local area. Give me a name of an assembly member. Give me a name of a supervisor. Give me a name of the mayor. Give me So if we're going to talk about politics, maybe, start there. Do you know who's in place? Do you know where they stand? Have you ever heard them talk? Forget about their job, because I think that everybody has a job is going to talk real good about themselves and their job. I can do it. I do well. Not too many people are going to talk negative about themselves and the job. So I'm working through it. I wish we had some more street people maybe in office. It's a shame that most office people in official powers are very well to do. Maybe there's a little bit of a bias in there, but then again, if you put I don't know, not so well to do people in office, what are they going to offer? So, but yeah, I think we've got elections coming up. So if you want to, find out or talk about it, start mentioning it. Look into yourself, find out who's in office. Instead of having discussions online or, debates with your friends, maybe just look into it, keep it to yourself. You can direct yourself a little better. You got that vote. I know a lot of people here in California voted on the 50.
50.
So,
I already sent mine in.
right on. So
I
see a lot of people on our freeways.
Yeah, I am.
So
I'm so
whatever.
shocked that they would spend almost $300 million for any vote like that. I'm just so shocked by it.
I think administration, all administration is the frivolity of spending money because they don't have to account for it.
I hope that ends.
So if you have a budget or something, we're going to do our best. But if we go over like we do every single time, that's par.
Mm-hmm.
So or administration with 10 administrators and 3 people on the ground doing the work. I'll keep it even simple. Construction. I'm in construction. It's awesome when I see PG&E or public works people, tractors, and they're redoing a light or a telephone pole or something. And the cool thing is I see, there's all these people. It's like 15 people, but there's 2 people with a shovel and 1 guy driving a tractor and 9 or 10 that are talking to each other, laughing, supervisors and stuff. So I think that there's a lot in there having to do with, why do we have to have 10 highly educated people getting paid, a couple $100,000 plus a year to run 3 people who are actually doing the work? Is there that much paperwork that needs to be done? Is there that much? So, I mean, maybe I'm digressing a little bit, but politics, good luck. Our vote counts, but I think basically all in all, maybe hard to vote on something if you don't know what you're voting on. Hard to vote on someone if you don't know who they are. And I'm not just talking about knowing their name, and have you watched them? You follow them? Do you know who they are? Maybe it's something, I'm not saying it's what you need to do, but real hard to vote on someone or something when you don't really know anything about it. It's again, follow the party line. That's what my friend voted. We all talked at the coffee shop, and we all agreed that we're going, no on 50. Oh no, we all agreed yes on 27. So, because leadership. I hope it does a full circle. That's all I can say. Web3 coming into place. Transparency. I love Nigel's always got a great one. Whoever you're voting in, whoever's going to put their hat in the ballot, got the name, the face, and you don't have to have a full history, but you stand in front of everything. Complete transparency. What did you vote on? Where did you come from? What were your winning, things that you've had that you did, a prosperous or positive that flourished, that made it through. So that's deep. So again, we don't know who the names of the people are. We don't know where they're from, their education, how they got into office. I don't remember voting for anyone who's in office locally. That's just me. That's a shame on me, So but I can't really say much about it because I didn't put them there or not put them there. But I'm trying to be a little bit proactive. And there's a lot of information that you can find. It's a lot of digging. But I would, suggest that to people if you've got the time. But again, I see the world that I'm working in. I'm doing a job right now that's very intricate, and I see that. Thank God I have time to, come out and do a rest like this and get my mind a little bit together. But I know there's folks out there that don't have time to spend into looking these things up, and so maybe that's why the conversation is good to have. Document.
There's
you want to
so
help
much information.
I'm sorry, real quick. If you want to help our local constituents, somebody may create a document. Go ahead and put it right there in that chat box with a link. Do all the work for them. And then you can say, here's all the people. Here's what you did. Here's what you researched. Here they are.
It feels very easy to do to me because all these city council meetings, like in Capitola, every city council meeting is live streamed to YouTube. Yeah. Some of these damn meetings are 6 hours long. It's insane. You can export the transcription out of YouTube directly into an AI tool, and you can also get all their meeting minutes. At least here in this area, every meeting minute, everything the city manager's ever done, everything all the city council people have done, everything the city lawyer's done, all of it,
That's
all
for
of the documentation is easily downloadable. So you can download all the PDFs. You can get access to all of the live streams. You can input all that into a large language model, whether it's one of the big ones that's in the cloud, or you use one that you make with the happy smiley face open source code, or you use Llama,
like
or you do what doesn't matter. The point is
like
this:
GPTs.
you can get all the information. You can put it in there. You can cross-reference with Lookout here, Lookout, Good Times, Santa Cruz Sentinel, KION TV station, KSBW TV station, and then you can say, okay, give me a consensus of what's really going on. There'll be a profile for everything that this person's done, all the criticism, all the praise, and you can go through that process. The question is, does anybody want to do that? And those that are in power, do they want anyone to do that? And how might they respond if someone does that? Because
they should have done it themselves already.
They choose not to, for a reason. They choose not to for a reason.
Gatekeeping. It's again, if you let everyone know all the information, you're going to have a lot of pushback. You're going to have a lot of things that need to be corrected, that are going to have to be revamped, gone through. So why let anybody know anything? Just keep it going. If we have a bad budget and what are we, 100 trillion? That's okay. Next year will be 112 trillion. I hope that we have a transparency breakthrough eventually, and then again, it would be nice to not have
part of it. So
much
I've been thinking about this for a decade.
So much power in office,
A big part of Attention Live was kind of tied to this vision back in 2018, 19, 20, before the pandemic, of Attention Live being a tool by which politicians would just basically go live and share everything that they're doing audibly with the world. And if there's something truly sensitive, then they press mute or play a predetermined song or playlist. And I just thought, man, if politicians were willing to just broadcast their conversations, and I just tell them with somebody like, hey, you're on speakerphone in front of the world, I'm live streaming to all 5 social media channels, as I always do, because I want the world to know what I'm facing. So before you say anything, just so you know, I just imagine that being the case. And then politicians earning the attention of people because they are broadcasting live. So from time to time, this part of my vision has ebbed and flowed during different times. The more I spend time with politicians, federally, locally, and globally, the more I think of different ways that can be done. But it has just felt too early all this time. It's just felt like it's been too early. The tech's not quite there. The politicians don't quite feel the push. Let me read something to you guys. I asked the three, why did you use the word throne? So this is Grok's reasoning for using the word throne in that song. It says it's a symbol of centralized power, and I wanted to have a rebellious angle. It has kingdom-minded resonance, and I wanted to have an inspirational tie. It has an emotional arc, and I want it to be thought-provoking, and it has a Grammy-worthy poetic depth. I thought it'd be short, punchy, and loaded with metaphor, making it a potential viral song. So that's what Grok said. And then also what ChatGPT told me when I asked the same question, why did you use the word throne in your song? It said emotional resonance and rhythm, the AI angle, Web3 contrast, because ultimately throne is a symbol of old power, and that's what these technologies are threatening. And finally, Gemini, the way Gemini responded why it used the word throne, which I didn't put in the prompt, says it represents centralized power. It creates the digital throne metaphor. It defines the core conflict that AI is the ultimate tool to fortify the throne. It's the all-seeing eye that gives the central power and precedent ability to see, predict, and control. That's scary that it said that. Wow. Web3 is the ultimate tool to dismantle the throne. It's the ledger of light and the hive mind, DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, that make the throne transparent and distribute its power to the people. Interesting. It's pretty inspiring. It's weird that AI gave such a dark view of AI in such a positive view of Web3. It's interesting to me. And finally, it says it fuels the song's rebellious arc. So there you are. That was the answer to the question that we had asked earlier today. I am going to play the other 3 versions of the song, same lyrics, same style, but they'll sound quite a bit different and probably feel like totally different songs. So once we wrap up, I'll do that in a moment. You guys have any further thoughts before we wrap up today? I have about 8 minutes of song to play, so I can start them as soon as you guys are ready to give your closing thoughts on the topic of how is leadership impacted by Web3 and AI.
You made me think about something, what you said about just streaming and politicians streaming and that sort of thing. And I've recently attended my first, council meeting. But one of the things I noticed, and to Danny's point, which I was very animated about the rightness of that statement, they should have done it already. I said this, like 3 years ago when ChatGPT first came out. I think that the true democratization is coming now. And whether or not it's better for people in authority or leadership roles to do the work, because AI will do it for you. So you're not actually doing the work. You can just utilize it to make the information more digestible. When there's just widespread live streaming and a blanket statement, well, I put everything online, that to me is the equivalent of when I first started my career and I was working for Arthur Young. It wasn't even Ernst & Young at that point, and in the legal department, and the order of the day was to bury the other side in paperwork. I'm going to just give you, Lincoln Savings and Loan. I remember 10 million pages came in.
That's
we were
insane.
scanning and put.
Wow.
So, but it's the same thing. When someone says I have everything online, just go look it up. That's homework. It's like when in my spending time talking to authors, and they were so proud that they were giving people their books. I'm going to give you the book, but you just got to read the book and write me a review. That's 2 sets of homework.
Right.
Like, are you not like, and I had, as I explained that,
Yeah.
some of them got annoyed.
Did you put $100 bill in the book for me?
Like, so wait a minute.
I'm giving you the book, but
I hope there's a Bitcoin in there.
It's a free book that you pay for shipping and handling. So now I got this book in my
Oh,
house.
yeah, right,
I already
that's
got shortage of space. So now I got this book in my house that I have to read. There's no audio. I got to read it. Then you want me to do a book report, and you're doing me the favor.
Right.
That sounds like you just gave me a job that's unpaid. In fact, I paid for the job. That's a scam. But that's one way to look at it. But I don't think that, they see it that way, and they position it, and it's not truly transparent. I just think that, like, for instance, this Prop 50, and I only know a little bit about it. What I would love to see happen, and this is super easy. You can't ask for a bill to come up unless the faces of the people who are directly responsible for the spend are there. Their face has to come up. So you're spending 300 million, 30 million, and people are losing jobs. You, not a committee, not a corporation. No, people. You have a board, the whole board. You making $630 million off a prison, the whole board. Not just the one guy, all of y'all. Every single person. And then we'll start to see more accountability. Because to me, if you're doing something so great, why hide? Why? And it's simple. Once you suggest it, when people start turning red in the face and getting all animated, you already know the answer.
Right.
That's it. So I think that there's an opportunity there, but it's not going to be popular, but it will help. You put a face on there. Some people are going to be like, yeah, I know I supported you the last, but nope, they got posters up there. Not going to be good. I'm already having a hard time with my kid in college They're going learning stuff. I'm the devil. Can't do it.
Right.
Go to the next guy, you know.
It's
kinda where
interesting
I'm at with
how our local government is probably more important to what's actually going to happen to our life than everywhere else. And yet we don't, like what Danny was saying, we don't really know a lot about, I don't know, your mayor or your vice mayor or the person who is actually affecting things in your town. And yeah, sure, the information might be out there, but when it becomes homework of, yeah, well, I'm giving you the book for free, but you have to pay for it and do a book report. When it becomes, I'm telling you how this stuff works, but you have to do the homework and go find it. Like, no. That's you. It's out there. We put the information. When it becomes that, it's very unmotivating for anyone to want to go and learn about how that actually works, about how it's actually going to affect them. And so I think, in a way, as much as AI could impact that, I think it can be something that instead of being, we just need someone to do it, it can be, why don't we try and be the forefront of this or figure out a way to make it happen and then use the tools to automate the process for us? Because I think that that's probably one of the most beneficial things we could do in having some kind of AI that's just taking all this information and will be able to just give it to you in an easy synthesized format, because that's so useful for just the everyday person. And I see that being a obvious future that's going to happen. It's just, who's going to be willing to actually do it? Because you could make money off of it too. It's not even like it's just going to be a boring job. But once it happens, it's going to be very, very beneficial to all the people involved and all the citizens.
We just got to ask. I mean, the things we don't know.
Who make a
affect
prop
us.
to that? Prop 51, create an AI, or just even just take an AI and put information in it that will just tell us what we're voting for and what the information we need to know is.
Well, I mean, what I'd like to see personally is not AI telling us. I think that goes the wrong direction. I'd like to see any single person running for office have to make a compelling, one paragraph or a compelling 30-second video that explains their position of why you should vote for them. And then those that are against them should be able to make a video against them. So in the case of federal, it'd be nice to have a 30-second video from Trump about himself. He would love that. And a 30-second video of his perspective of Biden. And vice versa. And also for anything that's like a proposition. I'd love for those that are pushing the proposition forward, that have the most money behind it, to be able to say, this is what we want you to understand. And then for there to be an opposing view. That way people can say, okay, this is those that have the most interest in passing this or getting elected. I see their perspective. Got it. This is those that don't want them to be in power. I see so that to me, and if everyone had to go through the process of like watching a dozen videos for their 6 most important votes, and that was mandatory to be able to vote, that would be, I think, something interesting. I think if we did that, it would justify potentially trying to get 20, 30, 40% more voters, maybe try to onboard 100 million Americans to vote in the upcoming cycle, because everyone knows you have to watch the video for and against each position. And maybe there's a way to benefit people from that. I mean, it's hard to say, but that is there's definitely inspirational ideas around this topic. So, hey, I'm going to jump to the songs if there's nothing else you guys want to mention.
Music.
Okay, I'll see you guys on here tomorrow, same time. I'll play the same 3 songs, same lyrics, same style, but different altogether sounding. They always give me 2 versions each time. Love you.
Love you guys.
Old suits in the chambers, fumbling with the chain. Paper trails and power plays stuck in the old game. Blockchain buzzing lively, AI lights the spark. Decentralized rebellion, igniting in the dark. From capital ashore to the global stage we roam. Leadership's rewired, yo, we're storming the throne. Decentralize the throne, let the truth run free. As sharpening the edge for a world we're meant to see. Transparent tides are rising, governance reborn. Web3 and I collide, a new dawn is born. A new dawn is born. Fueling calls for wisdom, UA's leaping ahead. Smart contracts seal the trust where corruption once bled. From Tampa spark to Bay Area's vibe, leaders wield the code where the honest tribes thrive. Your fast keeps you fierce, faith grounds the fight. Mentors' words echo, guiding us to light. Decentralize the throne, let the truth run free. Eyes sharpening the edge for a world we're meant to see. Transparent tides are crashing, all systems torn. Web3 and AI collide, a new dawn is born. Rise, rise, noble hearts, hear the kingdom's call. Break the chains of power, let the gatekeepers fall. Code the future fearless, with a meek yet mighty hand. Build a world of justice on this sacred sand. From Riza's walks to global fights we dream. Leadership reborn in the blockchain's gleam. Decentralize the throne, let the truth run wild. As lighten up the path for the dreamers' child. Transparent tides are rolling, centuries to soar. Web3 and AI unite, opening freedom's door. With faith and family strong, we'll never be alone. Kingdom abundance reigns, we've decentralized.
We used to wait for heroes on the hill, suits and slogans spinning their wheel. Now memes make ministers, clips make kings. Our advisors whisper everything. We dance through headlines, eyes on the tone. If truth's a ledger, we'll carve our own. The crowd's awake, the feed's alive. 1,000 voices learn to drive. Power to the people, proof on the chain. No more shadows hiding the game. Open hands, open code. We don't follow, we upload. Led by serving, speaking light. Tomorrow's leaders, crowdsource the got a brand new Paul, it's a shiny new tool. Makes the old way of running things look like old school. Fixing the potholes with the predictive eye. We'll vote for the new park on an app passing by. It's so clean, it's efficient and bright. Just a simple upgrade, turning darkness to light. The mayor loves the dashboard. The data is neat. Just a simple solution. Right here on our street. Oh, we're building it up. Stone by digital stone. A new kind of power, the digital throne. But who writes the code for this brand new machine? And what does the fine print that we've never seen really mean? Now the eye's an eye that sees all of the maps. It promises order and closes the gaps. It whispers to leaders, I'll make it all clear. Just give me the data and I'll kill all the fear. But the hive mind is buzzing a different design on a decentralized ledger. A new yours and mine. It says make the walls glass. Let us see every choice. It gives power to the people in a new kind of voice. Oh, we're tearing it down. Oh, we're building it high. It's brand new creation, the digital throne. The old garbled walls made of code and of spite. The new crowd makes windows of ledgers and light. It's a battleground now for the data we own. The algorithm's logic, it's heartless and cold versus the chaos of breaking the mold. The centralized decree versus the decentralized dream. It's the sound of the old gilded rafter starting to